Hello from a very freezing Madrid. I hope you're all well from whichever part of the world you are watching. We can definitely see that winter is here. It's definitely here. And on this cold note, today, what I'd like to talk about is how we wellness leaders can go beyond the quick fixes in our wellness business and why tackling the symptoms of our wellness business falls short as a strategy in terms of long-term and sustainable growth of our wellness businesses. Um, Over the last couple of weeks, I have talked about the elephant in the room, how in hospitality, wellness leaders are the lowest paid specialist leader. And we're talking about direct revenue generating departments, if we want to call them departments. We're still the lowest paid specialist leader. And on top of that, just because of the way the system has been set up, the crystal ceiling is set so incredibly low for our wellness leaders. And our careers are incredibly short lived. And for those people who want to grow and who are more ambitious, the crystal ceiling is incredibly low. And while this situation, a lot of the situation, part of the situation, I'd better say, is beyond our control, it's just the way the industry has been set up. I can't help but think a very important part of the situation is actually within our control. Because if we're living this reality, we wellness leaders have also co-created it. And the good news is there's a lot we can do actually to change it. But before going into how we can change that, I think it's important to address this false myth that many of us wellness leaders have. And it's a dangerous one. And I don't think it's going to serve us because we're currently having, there's this huge wellness movement happening across the globe, across industries, across companies. Wellness, without a doubt, has become that fancy word that, that buzzword that we need to have in every industry, right? And many people do not know the definition, or if they do know the definition, they've made their own definition, which is fair enough, right? Um, However, this movement can be actually quite dangerous for our industry because it makes us think, or it actually kind of reaffirms our initial false belief, false thought that the mere fact that a hotel has a wellness offering means that that wellness offering is an asset. What does an asset mean? It is a very strong value and revenue contributor. And what I want to talk about today, how that is actually not true. Any business idea, no matter how amazing it is, requires far more thought, strategy, and effort in order to make it a successful business. Now, that is just a fact. Any idea, you can have the best idea in the world. To actually translate that into successful business is a whole different ballgame. And you know what? The wellness business is no different. You can have an idea for a wellness offering or a wellness concept. Now, to make that successful is a whole new ballgame, a whole different ballgame. And this is where many of us wellness leaders have gone wrong. We have thought that just because a hotel has a full blown spa, state of art gym, that automatically makes it an asset, that automatically makes that wellness offering a strong value and revenue contributor. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So when we think that, we don't think that we need to change something about that idea in order to make it a successful business. And this is what has led wellness to not have that track record of stellar performance in hotels. This is why wellness in most hotels only barely makes up 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue. And that is fundamentally because the vast majority of wellness concepts aren't the right one for that particular hotel. So, in essence, each hotelier, each wellness leader is betting on that wrong horse. And why that is the problem is actually twofold. The first one is no matter what you do, when you have the wrong concept, so you can change your brand, you can change your pricing strategy, you can change your wellness leader, you can change and train your entire team. No matter what tactic you do, if you do not have the right wellness concept in place, it simply will not work. And the second problem is that we, as wellness leaders, when we encounter ourselves in this frustrating situation of trying to make a liability an asset and trying everything within our power to make it successful, is that we either end up armoring up, shutting down, or tap out. So we either lock horns with other departments, not be that flexible, or give concessions when we should and need to think about the bigger picture. Trust me, been there, done that, got the t-shirt so many times. Or alternatively, we work ourselves to the ground. We retreat and we stay in our wellness world and we work ourselves to the ground in the hope that one day we can prove our worth as wellness leaders. Now, none of these strategies, tactic after tactic, or shutting ourselves down or locking horns, is going to serve our overall wellness business. And what we as wellness leaders really need to actually understand is that if we want to move that revenue needle from 1 to 3% to 20 or 30%, what isn't going to get us there is what got us here. We simply cannot sell enough treatments, products, and services to make up 20 to 30% of total hotel revenue. We are going to have to employ strategies, a thought process that go far beyond the physical realm of our facilities. We're going to have to look at strategic collaborations. We're going to have to look at how technology and artificial intelligence can help us. We're also going to have to look at different types of business models, not only that revenue management, sell a treatment, sell a product. What about looking at subscription-based models? There's so many business models out there that we can employ, but we're only looking at one. And we're automatically thinking that the mere fact that a gym and a spa are in a hotel, then that just makes sure that, that is that asset from the get-go, and that we're going to make up that 20 to 30% of total hotel revenue one day. And that is why we deserve to be a higher paid specialist leader and why we deserve the crystal ceiling to be increased further. And the problem of that way of thinking is that if we don't shift the way we do business, we will never see the results we want to see in our hotels, and we will never see the results we want to see as wellness leaders. So today, what I wanted to invite our wellness leaders to do is, if you're having problems with your wellness offering, if you're having problems and you're not seeing the results you want to see with your wellness offering, it's not always down to your GM. It's not always down to your sales and marketing team. And it doesn't always mean that you need to have a huge investment in order to make wellness successful. It does mean that you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to do different things and you need to think very differently. And what I find useful when I'm looking at my clients' wellness concepts is what I call the realisticity and the potential of the wellness concept. The potential of the wellness concept has got to do with the soft aspects of the concept. For example, the vision, the mission, the purpose. Truly understand what your owners want, what your GM wants, what the brand wants, where, what direction are they headed? Because that is going to let you know whether the concept you are thinking is right for this hotel is actually right for it, or it has the potential to flourish. And then once we've seen that our wellness concept has the potential to do incredibly well, it satisfies the wellness needs of our ideal guest and is in line with the vision and mission of our owners, of our brand, of our hotel, of our GM. The next aspect is incredibly important is to understand whether it's realistic to implement. Now, the realisticity is incredibly practical. It's to do with the hard aspects of your concept. Do you have the infrastructure? That is facilities, the staff, the expertise, the funds, the space, the location, all those practical bits. And you have to make sure that your wellness concept has both the potential and the realisticity to be an asset. And when you have an asset, then you know you have the right concept that you can bet on. But what happens is when we enter into a new job or into a new spa, we leave the concept the way it is. We don't touch anything. What we do is we change aesthetic and what I call more the symptoms of the wellness business. So we change the brand, we update the treatment menu, we change a few key staff, and we think that that decorative change is going to what's going to move the needle from 1 to 3% to 20 to 30%. And that is what I call quick fixes. Quick fixes are incredibly costly. They might give you some quick results, but that's all they are, quick fixes. If we actually want to make a lasting impact in our business and to move that needle substantially, we're going to have to go a lot deeper. And we have to go beyond thinking that we're selling treatments, products, and services. We have to think far beyond that. What strategic collaborations can we put into place? Because the reality is that if we do not report profits, if we do not report the top line, and if we're not making the impact we want, our wellness businesses will never be successful. And we will always have that crystal ceiling set incredibly low, and we will continue to be that specialist leader that is one of the lowest paid specialist leaders in a hotel. Now, I hope you found that today's session useful, because what I did, just to highlight, incredibly important. I talk a lot about how wellness only makes 1 to 3%. And I find in there that, yes, half of that has been something that has not been within our control. But I also think a strong percentage of that is because we, as wellness leaders, have not employed the correct business strategies in order to make our wellness businesses work. And I would encourage all our wellness leaders to take quite seriously the fact that creating that right concept from that get go is incredibly important. And when we just treat the symptom and not the root cause of the business, then we're always going to be that department or business unit that only makes 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue. So go back to your drawing boards. Make sure that your wellness concepts are both have the potential to be successful and are incredibly realistic to implement, if not edit until you get to that point. And on that lovely note, I wish you all a fantastic day ahead. Take care now.